welcome to my channel. My name is Rhonda and I'm also known as the Sparkly One. A few weeks ago, I posted a video on this hat and I showed a bunch of different ways on how you can accessorize it. So if you go back to that video, which I'll link right here, you'll see how I accessorized it. And it was so cute and I got a great response on it. So I know everyone wants to learn how to make one. So today I'm going to teach you how to make a crocheted sun hat. It's done with 100% cotton yarn and it's called Peaches and Cream. And it's super easy to work with and so cute. And it's so nice because what happens is the stiffness of the yarn really just takes this brim to a whole new level, so you don't have to use any starch, any wires, or anything. And so I think you're really gonna love it. I think this would take about 4 hours to make if you are an experienced crocheter. And so that's not really a long time at all. So I think that you're gonna love it. You can crumple it up and wash it and do all kinds of things with it. And so if you don't wanna wear it, you can just store it in your bag. And I also have a variety of different yarns that I've already used to make some other ones. So I'll show you those right now. You don't just have to use 100% cotton. I actually thought that that was probably the best thing in the beginning until I started making a bunch. And so this one was made with cotton, which is really cute. It's a little bit big on the big side because I used a bigger hook and it still turned out adorable. And then this purple one right here, I actually used the Red Heart Super Saver ombre yarn for the beanie portion. And then for this outside portion, I had some other purple yarn that I had left over from another project, which I don't know the name of, but you could also use the Red Heart Super Saver for that. For any size 4 worsted weight yarn is gonna work. The other one that I made in this was the floppy hat, and this one was made in the 100% Peaches and Cream cotton yarn as well. And it was just in their aqua color. And for this adorable little hat, I used the Hobby Lobby Yarn Bee, and it's the Sugar Wheel yarn. And I can put the color of this yarn in the description box. So it had that self-striping effect and it's so pretty and I just love it. I think it's so wonderful to have this variety of color. And you can just make any hat you want with any size 4 worsted weight yarn, or you can use a 3, but you'll have to use a smaller yarn. You're gonna have to do more rounds, but it's still gonna turn out great. You could probably also use a bulky yarn as long as you adjust the pattern if you know how. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let's go ahead and get started on the white hat. Okay, here we go. So this is the yarn that I am using. It's Peaches and Cream Original, and this is by Yarnspirations, and I just bought 1 spool, and this can make a few hats depending on how big you make them. Okay, you guys, I just want to let you know that I made a pink one as well. As you saw at the beginning of the video, I had a bunch of different hats that I have already made. So I made this pink hat right here with 2 of these skeins. They are 2.5 ounces each and 120 yards. So if you buy 2 of the small skeins, whatever color you want, you don't have to buy this big spool right here. And that will make 1 hat. And this is how much I had left over. So you could make a headband or something with it as well. Also, I'm going to be using a size F crochet hook. You can use a little bit larger, like a G, if you are a tight crocheter. But if you are somewhat of a loose crocheter, I definitely recommend an F. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with the magic circle. You can just put this part into the, right over your fingers right here. Wrap it around. Bring it to the left, like in a little crisscross. Bring your hook right under, and then just pull that out like that. And you can just let go. And what you're going to do is you're just going to bring up the part that's attached to the ball or this, you know, the cone or whatever yarn you're using. And then you're just going to chain 3. Just like that. Whoops, we're out of the picture. Chain 3. And then you're just going to pull out this piece of yarn. And so you're going to have this circle. You can just unwind it like that. And then you can tighten the circle
so you can hold on to it a little bit easier, just a little bit smaller. And you can make it bigger if you want, you know, whatever you like, whatever's comfortable for you. And I'm just gonna hold it right here at the base of the chain, and then I'm going to put 11 more 11 more half double crochets. So that chain 3 is actually counting as your half double crochet. And then you're gonna do a total of 12. So I'm gonna do, you know, 11 double crochets and then keep my chain 3. Make sure to keep it a little tight so you don't get it all loose and baggy in there. There's 10, 11, and 12. And now you can even take this out. Just pull that little strand out of there. And then just tighten it like that. Just pull on it. Okay, and then make sure you don't use your short end. Use the end that's attached to the yarn. And just double check and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then the chain is 12. So for this, it's a no join method. So you're not going to join like you normally would if you're changing rounds, but you're going to yarn over and kind of make this a little bit longer. Don't make it super short, just a tad longer. Yarn over. And then what I want you to do is go into the second chain. So here's your chain 3, and you're just going to go right here into the top of the second chain, not the third chain, just the second one, because that's going to help with the gap. So you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through and do a half double crochet and kind of open that up, and that's what it should look like. Now here is what I'm talking about as far as the gap. So you can see how it kind of closes it up a little bit better rather than going in the top right there. And you can pull down on this center part to make it close a little bit better. And if you want to go into the top of that chain 3, that's totally fine. Whatever you do is fine. It's not an exact science. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go into that same stitch with a half double crochet. So do you see that right there? That's where we did that into the chain 2. So you're going to just do a half double crochet, pull it through. So now we have 2 in that space. And then we're going to go around and do 2 in every one. But before you move on to that, just so you don't get confused, I want you to take a stitch marker and go under that first stitch right here. So that's 1, 2. So the very first one, just put a stitch marker right there. Whoops. Sorry about that. I'm just going to go ahead and put in 2 half double crochets in every stitch around. And then when I get back to that stitch marker, right before it, I will show you how to change the row. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and what you're going to do here is you're going to, there's your stitch marker, just go into that stitch right here before it with 2. Okay, and then take out your stitch marker. Just take out your stitch marker and then go into this space with 1. So you know that's where you started. And then go ahead and put that stitch marker back in to that first stitch. So this will be round 3. And in round 3, you're going to put 1 in the first one, which is the one we just did. You're going to put 2 into the next one. 1, 2, and then as this next stitch you're going to do 1, and you're going into the top of these stitches, not in between, okay, because that would be a different texture. But if you want that texture, you can do that too, so you have options, but it would just go into the top of these stitches. So go ahead and put 1 in there, and then 2 in the next, and then 1 in the next, and so forth. So just repeat that pattern all the way around to that stitch marker, and I'll meet you when I get back here. Okay, so I'm almost to the end, and what I'm going to do is, this is my stitch that I'm putting 2 in. Okay, and then just take out your stitch marker and just put 1 in there for now until we put that back in, just like this. Okay, so this is row 4, and we just did the first one here, and what the pattern on row 4 consists of 1 half double crochet and the next 3, so this counts as your first one, and that is 2 and 3, and the next one you're going to do 2, and so you're just going to repeat that same pattern 3 in a row, 1, 2, 3, and then 2. So go ahead and do that. The pattern is in the description box, so if you need that, it's right there for you, and go ahead and follow that if you want, and just go all the way around, and then I'll meet you right when we get back to the stitch marker. Okay, so I'm nearing the end, and I did 3 in a row right there. I'm going to do 2 in this same stitch. And then what I'm going to do is, if you don't have 3 here, that's fine. So wherever you end up after your pattern repeat, just go ahead and just do a single in that one, and then take out your stitch marker and just do 1 in this one. Okay, and then this is going to go back in here just like that, and then this is round 5. So we're going to start round 5, and for round 5 we're going to do 4 in a row and then 2, 4 in a row, then 2. So we've already done 1, so we're going to do 2, 3, 4, and in the next one you're going to do 2 in that same stitch, 1, 2. So the pattern is 4 and then 2, 4 and then 2. So go ahead and do that, and when we come back we'll be on round 6. Okay, so I'm coming to this part right here, and I've done 4 in a row, and I'm going to do 2 in this one, 1, whoops, 2, and then I'm just going to do 1 in this one right here, and then take out my stitch marker. I'm going to do 1 in here. I'm going to put my stitch marker back in, like that. This is what it should look like. It should be nice and flat without curving too much or waving too much. So this is looking great. In round 6, we're just going to be doing 1 half double crochet in every stitch around. So there's no increasing on this round. So just go ahead and do that. I'll meet you at the stitch marker. This is round 6, and I'm just coming to the end right here. There's my stitch marker. You can take that out, and then just do that one. Whoops, I did a single crochet. I took out the stitch marker, and I'm going into that stitch, and I'm going to put it back in, and then this is going to be round 7. And for round 7, okay, oh, let me show you this. So see, it's starting to curl up like that. That's totally fine. You can lay it down, and you can flatten it out a little bit. This is the top of your head, so it actually is nice that it's doing that just a little bit, so it'll be a little bit more of a nice round shape on top. For round 7, what you're going to do is you're going to do 5 in a row. So we've already done 1, and then you're going to do 4 more. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and I know you don't need to see this, but I'm gonna do, whoops, my marker fell out, whoops. You're gonna do 2 in the next one. Okay, so then just go all the way around to your stitch marker, which is somewhere around here, and we're gonna start on the next round. Okay, so here I am at the end, and I ended with 2. And so on this next one, I am just going to do 1 in there. I'm going to take out my stitch marker, and I'm going to do 1 in there, just like we've done before, and put the marker back in. So for row 8, I already changed my marker to the spot that I need it to be, and I am going to do 6 half double crochets and then 2 in the next. So this is number 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2. And then, of course, you're getting used to it by now, so go ahead and just do 6, 2, 6, 2 all the way around. Okay, so I'm at the end of round 8, and as you can see, I ended up right here, and this was, I did 6 and then ended with 2, and the stitch marker is exactly right there. So that is what you want, somewhere close to that. And just take a tape measure and measure the diameter, because you really want anywhere between 6 to 7 inches for your hat. So if you had a 6-inch hat, that would be kind of a small pattern. I think if you had a young teenager, that would be good. But an adult size should be somewhere between 6 and 7. If you have a bigger head, you would go to about 7. So you could do 1 more round of increases. And in that increase, you would do 7 half double crochets and then 2, 7, 2, 7, 2. So that should be an easy way to figure out this pattern. And I have a 22-inch head, so I am going to use this as my guide, which would probably be perfect. So as you can tell, the hats in the video that I've tried on, those were all done with about the same size circle. Now keep in mind, sometimes they stretch out a little bit. So if you want to go a little bit tighter, that's totally fine, because it will stretch out a little. But the method that I'm going to show you at the end of the sides, you'll see how I can tighten that up, and you can have a little tighter fit. So let's go ahead and move on to the sides. So from now on, I don't want you to move that marker, okay? So you're just going to have to go inside of that area best you can. Keep it kind of tight, because that marker can make it kind of loose. And just go in there, and then I just want you to half double crochet all the way around, and you're going to do that for approximately 10 rows. So come back after you get 10 rows after this marker. So this counts as the first row. So go ahead and do 10 rows, and then I'll see you when I get back to the 10th row. This is the easy part, you guys. This is going to start taking shape. So let's keep going. This is fun. Thanks for joining me. If your hat is starting to curl now, that's totally fine. You want it to be a dome shape like this, so that's fine if it's starting to curl up at this point. So after you've done your 10 rows, you're going to try it on. Now you really want it to come a little bit high on your eyebrows, otherwise it'll be too low on your forehead. Or if you like it that way, that's fine too. But this is done with a size F hook. If you want it a little bigger, you could go with the G. But this is really what it should look like. So at this point, we're going to go ahead with the brim. Take out your stitch marker and then use it for this spot right here. Okay, just like that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make 2 slip stitches in the next 2 spaces, so 1 in each one, and we're just trying to level it off a little bit, and then we're going to make our brim. And so our brim is over here. That's what it's going to look like. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go in between these half double crochets. So right here in between, and you're going to put in a slip stitch. And you're going to be working right on top of your work, but in between the half double crochets, just like that. So all you're going to do is you're going to go all the way around your hat, get to your marker, and then I'll show you how to join that portion. So it should look like this. Looks like a little braid. So when you get right about here, I'm going to come back. Okay, I'm nearing my stitch marker, and I'm still going into my half double crochets in between. So I can go ahead and take out my stitch marker. Sure. There we go. And then I'm going to still go in between this one where my stitch marker was. And then over here, you see how we have this little transition? You're going to go underneath that first slip stitch where you started to go down, and then you're going to go underneath the next one as well. So you have two that you went underneath right there. So it will look good no matter how you join it, but this is the preferred method for myself. Oh, and then maybe you can go in and just go into the next one. So go into 3 slip stitches right there. And it should look, let me take out my hook. It should look just like that. So now we're going to go ahead and start the brim. Now you're going to put your what is that called? Yes, your marker. Thank you very much. Your marker back underneath your stitch right here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into this little braid that we just made. Okay, so that's where we're going to be working, and we're going to go underneath it with the 2 strands on top like that, and you're going to do 1 single crochet, and the next one right here you're going to do 2 single crochets in that same stitch, and then you're going to do 1 single crochet in the next one, and then as you can see the pattern is 1 2 1 2. So just go ahead and go underneath, this one's a little tight, each one, and placing 1 2 1 2 like that. And then I'll meet you right before we get to the stitch marker. Okay, so I'm back at the beginning, and I just did 2. So in this next one, I'm going to do 1. And then in this one right here, I'm going to go ahead and take out my marker. And then I'm going to be doing in this next round, that was round 1 of the brim. So round 2 of the brim is just going to be a single crochet in each stitch around. So I'm going to do 1 there because that's my beginning. And I'm going to put my stitch marker back in. So I'm going to do 1 single crochet all the way around. So I have 98 stitches. You can have a little more or a little less. It's not a big deal. So whatever you end up on is fine. I am going to take out my stitch marker, and this is going to be row 3. And in row 3, you're going to go around again with another row of single crochets. So just go ahead and do that one more time, and then I'll meet you back here at the stitch marker. We've done 3 rows, and this is what it should look like. So if you stand your hat up, it should look nice and flat. So we are going to move on to row 4, and go ahead and place your stitch marker just like normal. Just go in here 1 stitch, place your marker like that. And for this row, row 4, we need to make 2 stitches in this first space. Then we're going to do 1 in the next 7 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 2 in this one. So you're going to do 2, 7, 2, 7, 2, 7. So just go all the way around until we get to that stitch marker, and then we'll start round 5. Okay, I'm just finishing up row 4. I'm taking out my stitch marker. I'm going to put 1 single crochet in that space. I'm going to, then I'm going to put my stitch marker in. This starts round 5. So what you're going to do here is you want 2 in this first one. And then you're going to do 10 in the next, where you're going to do 1 in the next 10. Okay. And then you're going to put 2 in that one after the 10. So you're going to have 10, 2, 10, 2. So meet me around at the stitch marker. Okay, so I'm ending round 5. I'm taking out my stitch marker. I'm doing 1 in here, putting my marker back in. I'm going to do 13 in a row here, so that counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 13, and then 2 in the next one, and then repeat that all the way around to the stitch marker. We're halfway through the brim. I'm just finishing up round 6, and this is my stitch marker, and I only had 9 here instead of 13, but that's okay, it doesn't matter. Just go ahead and put your stitch marker, back in there. And then what we're going to do is single crochet all the way around to our stitch marker one more time, and this is row 7. Okay, we're moving on to round 8. Just switch out your stitch marker. This is round 8, and we're going to put 2 into the first space, and then we're going to do 15 in a row and then 2 in the next, 15 in a row and 2 in the next, and I'll see you at the stitch marker. Okay, I'm just finishing up row 8, and I am just going to single crochet right to my marker. I'm going to change the marker out right here, put it right there. So we're just going to go ahead and single crochet all the way around. Just a few more rows and we'll be finished. Also, I just want you to put your hat down and see what it looks like. It's supposed to be somewhat flat with maybe a little curl on the edge. So if yours looks like that, you're doing a great job. Okay, you guys, I'm finishing up round 9 and I'm moving on to round 10. So I'm just going to go into my stitch marker, take it out, and put it in that space. So for round 10, you're going to put 2 into the space. So I already had 1 in there. There's 2. And you're going to do 18 stitches and then 2 in the next. You know the drill. I'll see you at the end of this round. Okay, I'm coming up on round 11, and I am just going to finish whatever stitches I have here with single crochets right up to the stitch marker. I'm changing the marker. And then for round 11, we are just going to single crochet all the way around, just easy row again. So let's go ahead and get on with this, and we only have a few more rows. Okay, I just finished round 11, and in round 12, I put 2 stitches into where my stitch marker was, and I remarked it with the stitch marker to the first one. So we have 2 in the first one, and then 18 stitches in a row and then 2 in the next one. So this is our last round for increases, and we are going to move on to the finishing of this hat. And I'm really excited because it's been a few hours and I think you guys are ready to wear your hats. So let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Okay, you guys, we just finished our last row. This is about a 3-inch brim. If you want to enlarge this brim, just go ahead and do another row of single crochet, and then you're going to increase by 21 stitches. So you kind of know the pattern at this point, so feel free to go ahead and do that, but I'm just going to leave mine at the 3-inch mark. And then for this very last row, you can go ahead and take out your stitch marker and say goodbye to it. You won't be needing that anymore. This one, you are going to just do 2 slip stitches right here in the next 2 stitches. And then in the row below, right below it, you're going to pull up your hook just a little bit and make your stitch a little longer. You're going to go right here into this row right below it. So you're not going to go into this same row, but you're going to go right underneath it. So I want you to do a slip stitch on top of your hat, just like that. And then in each stitch around in that row below, you are going to do the same thing. So you're just going to do a slip stitch all the way around, just like that. So you're just going in to the space in between your half double crochets. You're picking up your strand, and then you're going to pull it through and make a slip stitch. So that's what it should look like. We're doing like a little braid on top of our hat. So if you can see this one over here, this one is all finished. But we're just going to go ahead and go all the way around right to where we started, and then I'll show you how to fasten off. How cool is that? It's making a nice sturdy edge. Okay, you guys, I'm right here at the end, and I am going to finish with a few more inside of here. And I hope you're not finding this too difficult, because it's pretty easy once you figure it out. And then I'm just going to go underneath where we started right here. I'm just going into the stitch underneath, just like we did before. And then I'm going to go into the same hole where I started. Okay, and then when you're finished going into that space, then you're going to go into the space right here where you started and go push it down into that base and then pull that through. So just like that. And then I'm going to just cut my yarn, just like that. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take my yarn needle and I'm going to run it under here, under that very first stitch, just like that. And then you're going to go under this chain right here on your edge. And you're going to kind of just work in these loops back here and just make it as, you know, as nice as possible, weaving in your ends. Whatever way you want to do that will be just fine. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just like that. Do you see how it's kind of coming together? And you could just circle back this way and kind of make like a false loop or false stitch. That looks pretty good. And then just from the back, all you're going to do is weave it in from the back. So go ahead and do that and then clip off your ends. Okay, don't forget to weave in your ends here in the center, and then you will be all done and ready to wear your hat.
Also, I wanted to show you that I have all of these hats that I crocheted, and I've just been on this crazy mission to figure out a great pattern for you. So I finally came up with a good one, and this is it. So I'm going to take this off and I'm going to show you the other hats, and they're so cute. Let's see. You can wear it any style you like. There's so many different variations which are great for this hat. So let me go ahead and try on another one. I also made it in a floppy hat. So I have that pattern too, which will be in another video. But for now, you're gonna just, if you wanna make that other sun hat, that's fine. But this floppy hat pattern will come in another video. So stay tuned for that. But isn't that cute? Here's the purple version. I think this one is so cute. I used 2 different yarns on this. I did an ombre yarn at the top and then another yarn, just solid purple for the brim. And also the nice thing about these hats is that, you know, you can wear them in any style. You can wear them like a safari hat. You can wear it, let's see, you can wear it as, oh, you can even wear it like almost like a cowgirl hat. Then, oh, on the top, you could even make it, like fold it up into a fedora. If you want it more like that. See how it takes on the shape a little bit? The cotton one's actually a little better for that, but it's really cute. And the pink one, I crocheted a little bit bigger. I used a size G crochet hook for this. So for the white one and a couple of the other ones, I used an F. And then if you use a bigger hook, you're gonna have a little bit bigger hat. So either way, it's gonna be fine. Even if it's a little big for you, you just don't want it too small. We're all done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that if you have any questions that you'll reach out to me at sparkly160@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share it so we can get this out there so people can start making these adorable hats.